What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So just right away, today is April Fool's Day, April 1st, and I was gonna have a joke or something ready for you here to get your hopes up and then dash them immediately with incredible disappointment. But to be honest, just kind of look around on social media, just the internet. Every day is basically April Fool's as it is, and so I figure I'll let you off the hook for this one. Today, though, we do have some actual news, I hope, to go over, which does include reviews for the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and wow, people are absolutely obliterating and crushing Nintendo over this, and what I can only deem as some very dramatic headlines, but we'll go over some of that here today. Also, we're going to be talking about an awesome looking handheld, one especially for retro game fans, and we have a bit more information around Eidos Montreal, specifically what they were working on, how much money, I guess, that they had canceled on them with a certain project, and how the future doesn't exactly look great at this point for the studio. All that and more. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. Guys, we're every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, going over the world of gaming news, trying to keep you up to date. So just know, even if you don't get a notification in the morning, there's probably still a video here for you to check out. And we're going to start today with Mindseye, which is weird because I said we weren't doing April Fool's stuff, but here we are, the headline that kind of reads like one. You can see this over on IGN. They say, new Mindseye mission will reveal evidence the game was sabotaged, claims CEO. No, that's what it says. Okay, apparently they're going to be adding a new mission to its game, Mindseye, and this is going to walk us through how the game was sabotaged, and they've been claiming this for months now, to where it was like $1 million plus apparently spent by an outside entity that caused this game to crash and burn, really. And I mean, apparently it has nothing to do with the game just not being very good. I played all the way through it. Guess what? The game's not very good. So I don't know. Apparently they're going to add this mission, and it's called Blacklist. It'll feature a female playable character, and we're going to go through, I guess, a story they're going to lay out, according to them, before they go through all this in court. So that seems like a great idea, but hey, we'll see what happens here with Mindseye and this new mission Blacklist, see if we can get to the bottom of what caused Mindseye to flop. Also, we had an announcement for the Darksiders franchise. This we can see over on Gamatsu. They say THQ Nordic will release Darksiders Warmastered Edition for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, both physically and digitally, on May 19th for $29.99. This is interesting because this will be the third time this game has been like released or remastered or the Warmastered treatment to it. And I don't really know what exactly they did to it, because they didn't really say anything. They just kind of go through, if you look at the press release, and just summarize the game again. All I can assume, I mean, they say different languages here. Maybe they did some more localization and translations for it, which that'd be cool. But I figured, hey, here's some new graphical enhancements or something, ray tracing or 4K, 120 FPS with that. Nothing really mentioned, so maybe that'll just be a fun surprise, I guess, when the game comes out here in a few months. I mean, the game's good. If you haven't played Darksiders before, I recommend it. I still think it's an awesome Zelda-like experience, but it's also one that's been re-released multiple times, and if you've been looking at the Darksiders franchise before, you've probably already played it. Probably even got you into the franchise in the first place. Maybe there will be a free update for people who have it on previous generation platforms, but I didn't see any information on that yet, so I'll keep you up to date. Oh, and here's a random announcement. People weren't sure if it was like just ticking over to April 1st. This seems to be for the new Nier game that's coming out, you can see. And they say Nier new project production confirmed. This is on their official account. Born in nothingness, is it hope or is it despair in the name of salvation? Coming soon. And there's just a 20-second or so video clip that ends with Nier Cosmic Horror. I mean, it's cool that we are getting a follow-up to like Nier Automata and stuff, but we really don't know. We really can't take much else out of this video here. I guess we gotta hang out and wait. They say coming soon, so I'd like to think before Summer Game Fest, but maybe that's what they have in mind for the announcement. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the Super Mario Galaxy movie that is in theaters this week. Might even be live in theaters for some of you even today. I'm gonna go see it either Friday or Saturday. We'll see how things work out there, but reviews went live, and let's take a look. This is over on Rotten Tomatoes, currently sitting at a 44% From what I remember, the first Mario movie came in at a 59% on the tomato meter, but then for the audience score, the user score, it was like 95%. So that was one where critics and then just moviegoers were pretty far apart. And then if we look over on the Mario Galaxy movie for Metacritic, coming in at a 37. So let's see, the top review here was from the Seattle Times, saying the prime attraction of the movie and its predecessor is that it envelopes the audience in the Mario world. Every square inch of the screen, from top to bottom, corner to corner, is packed with images derived from the game. Easter eggs abound. Watching it is akin to being inside the 2007 Super Mario Galaxy game itself. What? That seems nice. Looper gave it a 70, saying I laughed at more jokes than I expected to in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Okay, let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum here. The lowest score is, and I'm not even kidding, a 0. I told you guys, they were rough. They were crushing this movie. The Times saying the film is torturous to sit through, and for me, provoked periods of actual physical discomfort. I had to stab myself repeatedly in the hand with a pen to distract from the howling distress. It's that bad and that offense. I mean, at that point, maybe it's not just the movie that's caused a lot of that, but that's just, wow. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the headlines here. We have Variety saying Super Mario Galaxy movie review, frenetic and disappointing sequel is a threadbare adventure that's all video game Easter eggs. I guess sounds so bad. I'll kind of talk about who I think this movie is for, obviously, here in a minute, but we go over to the Globe and Mail saying the Super Mario Galaxy movie is an empty void that assumes the worst of children. Man. And we have, this is from The Guardian saying, the Super Mario Galaxy movie review, bland screensaver of a movie that's actually worse than AI. Okay, that one might be a little rough. I haven't seen the movie. We've seen some of the previews and the visuals, and I mean, it looks better than AI, I have to imagine, just from the clips we've seen so far. And then we have The Times. They give it a 0. The Super Mario Galaxy movie review. Is this the end of cinema? Wow, it was the Mario Galaxy movie that did it. Jeez. I told you guys, these critics, they seem to hate this movie. Like, this movie, offended them. The end of cinema. It's dramatic. I know, that's what I was saying. These headlines are almost over the top. And from what I can gather with the Mario Galaxy movie, it's, for me, like the first one, I didn't go into the theater and sit down and thinking, all right, here we go. This is it. The Oscar nominated performance. Like, all these performers are going to just be Oscar winner after. I kind of went in thinking, oh, it'll be a fun video game popcorn movie and it'll be a good time with the family, and then that'll be kind of that. Like, I'm not going to leave expecting to leave the Mario movie with thought-provoking, conclusions or anything from it. It's, yeah, okay, that was fun. You see Mario jump around, some of the cameos, Easter eggs. This will be a fun time, right? So that's kind of what I'm expecting here with the Mario Galaxy movie. And then also, I think it'll be fun to see Fox up on the big screen. But I do think it's obviously geared towards, yes, family, younger kids, and people who enjoy the source material with the Mario games and like the video game franchise and stuff. So I think, for me, it'll be a fun kind of adventure to the movies, and that's about it. It really won't go that much deeper for any of that with me. It certainly, I don't think, will be the end of cinema, because I'm not expecting it to be like the top of cinema. But hey, let me know what you guys think about some of these reviews down below. Was it a little over dramatic, or did you see the movie and you really do think it's going to be the end of cinema? Next up, let's talk about an awesome handheld that got announced. This coming from Evercade. They put out an entire trailer for it, and there's a full page on their website dedicated to going over this. And there is one release in particular that comes with the system that I think is awesome. But first, let's take a look at the specifications here. Now, this is the Evercade Nexus. It's dubbed as a new premium retro system designed for 32 and 64-bit games. Has a 5.89-inch IPS display coming with a resolution of 840 by 512, has a brightness of 500 nits, so not too bad there. You can switch to Tate mode on the fly, so you have those vertical games. I'm thinking of like vertical shooters immediately. Has wireless headphone support, as well as a 3.5mm headphone jack. And then if you don't have any of that, you have dual speakers on the front. There's a custom RGB logo that they were showing off, so you should be able to change to whatever color you want, I guess, in the system menu there. Wi-Fi 6 enable for pretty good speeds, I guess, there through wireless. And then we have 5 hours of battery life. That'd be estimated, so it could be a little more, it could be a little less, depending, of course, on your brightness or just how strenuous maybe the game is on the system. They also went over something called EverSync. It's a wireless feature, and it lets you connect for local multiplayer to another Evercade Nexus. If you look at the front, though, it does have dual analog sticks, and that's pretty big, considering the fact that Evercade goes out and tries to get all kinds of licenses, and the idea is they take those games and put them on cartridges. So it's not game key cards, like actual cartridges. You pop it into the system and it just works. Like, I know, crazy concept, right? That's how it was before. That's kind of what they're playing into here, all right? So at this time, they're saying it plays all Evercade cartridges that have been released. So there are many, many cartridges out there, tons and tons of games. So if you already have them, this seems like a step up from any of their previous handheld systems they released. And really, really cool here, while they do have a limited edition N64 system that's already sold out, so as soon as they announced it, it was sold out, they did mention that a Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie double pack, it's a double pack cartridge, is included with the system. And these are new versions of Kazooie and Tooie that's kind of designed around this platform. So awesome. I mean, that's a really cool thing to throw in, and it's shipping October 2026. Pre-orders start right now, today, April 1st. Again, a weird time to open up pre-orders, I know, because people are like, are they actually open? Or are you just messing with us? Is any of this real? Yeah, it seems to be. So it's coming in, though, at the price point of $200, and I'm going to get one of these. I think this is a really, really cool looking system. I like the idea of having a premium device without, we think of premium price points, and it's now with the PC gaming handhelds that, yes, can do a lot more than this, but they end up near that $1,000 mark. We're getting to a position where, yes, $200 is getting, like, because everything has moved up on that scale, it is kind of like reverting into almost an impulse buy territory. I know it's still $200. It's still like, wow, okay, it's not nothing, but $200 looking at a handheld now is a lot different than it was back the Game Boy Advance or the PSP or something, right? So this, to me, looks really cool. I'm interested. I'll be picking it up, and I think it'd make for a really fun video and teardown. So I guess we'll see how all this goes with pre-orders. I'll try to secure one, and we can check it out in October. Next up, let's talk about the Switch 2 and a bit of a boost that it saw in March, and I don't think this should be surprising to anyone, but we are now starting to see reports come back from different regions other than just Japan, where we could see it week to week in a very transparent manner with the sales charts that they put out there, and we can see this. This is from Christopher Dring, who says, Nintendo Switch 2 UK sales jumped 154% in March, month on month, following the release of Pokemon Pocopia. Nintendo accounts for over 50% of all consoles sold in the UK so far this year. He also mentions that March was a 5-week month, whereas February was a 4-week month. Okay, so to me, it's pretty obvious Pocopia is indeed a system seller. I don't think that's shocking to anyone now, but on the build up to it, as I said, I was incorrect. It absolutely was a system mover. I just kind of thought it was a game that, I mean, I was overlooking, but just felt like, okay, here's Pocopia, where's Gen 10? Now it's like, oh no, here's Pocopia, Gen 10, it's coming 2027, okay, it would have been cool to have it, but man, this Pocopia game, it's actually pretty good. It's also been moving back and forth, I've noticed, from the 90 on Metacritic to 89, and I think it's right there to where, who knows, by the time you see this video, it might move back up to a 90. And in that case, it would be the highest rated game of the year. Yeah, so it's awesome for Omega Force after Dragon Quest Builders 2 to get a game like this and have it get this kind of reception. But also for Nintendo, they needed a game like this, obviously, to start setting up 2026. That sounds like it's going to be a pretty good year for Nintendo with some of the recent leaks and information that have gotten out there. So I am curious to see the MPD or the Circana sales results that we'll hear about from Matt Piscatella here in a few weeks as we work through April, because something tells me, yes, Pocopia probably going to catapult the Switch 2 up to the #1 system, like units and dollars in the US, and mostly that just being because of Pocopia. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Eidos Montreal once again. We talked about them yesterday because a bunch of layoffs hit the studio, and then the studio head also left, so more than 100 people were laid off, and then you lose the leader of the studio. It's, okay, what are they doing? Running support on Fable and Grounded 2, so it seems like right now they are very much dependent on Microsoft just outright for any of their projects. And when I saw this layoff, it seemed pretty obvious that something fell through internally and they were just going to be a sports studio at this point. Well, now, with some more information coming way of insider gaming, we can see where they say yesterday's Eidos Montreal layoffs were due to the cancellation of Wildlands. It's a game that had been in development since early 2019. And they did describe a bit as to what it was. They had footage. They went into a lot of detail, which you could check out. I'll have that link down below in the sources. But for the most part, it was an open world, third-person action-adventure game with a few wrinkles here and there. But they say, according to sources, the game had been struggling for years with 4 different game engines used throughout development, narrative direction conflicts, and a budget that exploded well beyond, get this, 9 figures. So that means that it was more, they spent more than $100 million on this game, and the game didn't come out, which is weird because, as they say, Wildlands cancellation is weird because, according to sources, the game was almost complete. So it seemed like they were going into, like, they're going to start ironing out any bugs or just do more and more QA and polishing, and it got canceled right there. So I don't know. I guess Embracer was looking at it like, hey, this probably isn't even worth shipping out there or marketing. We're not going to get our $100 million plus back, so we may as well stop right here. And here's the thing, if they cancel it and it stays internal, they can do a write-down on it. I feel like if you actually set it out into the world and start selling copies, you don't really get that kind of a write-down compared to just canceling it here before it sees the light of day. Here's the thing that's going to hurt, and I know it will. The game's spiraling budget resulted in several projects at the studio being canceled, including a new Deus Ex game in January 2024. And once again, Eidos Montreal, I kind of feel like with everything we just saw with the layoffs and the studio head leaving, and hearing that there was at least a Deus Ex game that was in development, got canceled, which we heard about, but was the result of this other larger project that cost Embracer Group $100 million plus. Yeah, that's not really a studio that you're like, hey guys, what do you want to do now after you're done your support roles with Microsoft? It kind of feels like, hey, you're done your support roles at Microsoft, we're shutting the studio down. That's unfortunately how it feels right now. I guess the one thing that could happen is Microsoft could go, hey, this studio actually did pretty well with these support roles for Fable and Grounded 2. Maybe they buy Eidos Montreal, or what's left of Eidos Montreal, from Embracer Group, and then they just merge them in for what that'd be Obsidian and then Playground Games. I guess that's better than the studio just closing outright, and then you have all those developers just kind of splitting up and going their separate ways. So we'll see, but at least for now, they're working on Grounded 2 and then Fable. That's keeping them at least afloat right now. We'll see what happens when those contracts, though, run out. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, how much RAM do you have in your main computer right now? And if you have amounts between any of these, you just round up. I knew there'd be someone in the comments like, I have 24 gigabytes of RAM, and there was. That's why I said just go ahead and round up. At that point, 8 gigabytes or less, 10%. And people shudder at the idea of 8 gigabytes. But if you have MacBook Neo, you fit in there. You know, I also have a laptop that's a bit cheaper that I put Linux on, and you know what? It can handle 8 gigabytes. You can use that as a daily driver, like surfing the web, document, like Word documents stuff. You can get away with that. But 16 gigabytes, 33%, 32 gigabytes, 44%, and more than 32 gigabytes, 13%. I figured it'd be 16 or 32. 32 though, okay. Again, if you're somebody gaming on PC, you probably do angle more towards the idea of having 32 gigabytes of RAM. Although 16 gigabytes, I do feel like you can still kind of work with there, especially if you're doing like 1080p or some 1440p gaming. Still though, the amount of RAM I have in my computer, I was fortunate because I got a lot of the stuff on sale, and it was before all the RAM apocalypse stuff started happening. But it's more than 32 gigabytes is what I'll say there. It's actually quite a bit to where maybe I occasionally look at it and go, maybe I don't need this much RAM. I could actually go ahead and just get another PS5 Pro or something. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Zach, who says, I want a gold cartridge. I keep seeing this come up online. It's like, man, they should really do a gold Ocarina of Time remake cartridge. And I do think that would make a ton of sense, even if it's, because it would break the norm of what they've been doing, obviously. But it's also Ocarina of Time. Again, the highest rated game in history. You can buck the trend a bit and go, hey guys, I know you're going to hate us. The cartridge is gold for this one. And people are just go, we can't buy that now. No, people would be like, yes, you know what? I was gonna get it digitally, but I have to have the gold cartridge. Nintendo will look at you and go, it's $90. And then most people will be like, all right. Hey, Nintendo knows they got you with Ocarina of Time Remake. It's just, it's one of those like generational things. So I don't think they'll go 90 on it, but who really knows at this point with Nintendo? Still, yes, I'm gonna buy it physically anyway. It's Ocarina of Time. Again, they got me there. But man, it'd be cool if they did some fun stuff outside of just a new console, because I don't really necessarily need another Switch 2, but I absolutely would buy like a limited edition, say $100 Ocarina of Time Remake with a nice slipcover and a manual and a gold cartridge. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see that. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here in a card. Or maybe you wanted to hear about how, hey, the RAM prices right now that are through the roof are actually coming down a bit, and maybe we can see that trend continue. I did a whole video looking into that, and I'll leave it right below. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.